Hey Harmonizers, this video is going to focus on Pretzel learning to trot, which is super exciting under saddle, but I wanted to share this cute little clip first of her riding through our summer camp. She's just doing so amazing with all of the chaos and everything that's happening. You can look at her walking around. She's just walking slowly and carefully, even if there's a horse following behind her, walking by all the people. She's just doing super awesome. So now we're going to transition into the round pen. So this is me doing Pretzel's trotting training. So there are some moments where I was trotting in hand with her, meaning somebody was leading me. And then I thought to teach her trots for the first time, I wanted to come out to the round pen because it's just a smaller space. So just in case she wanted to go too fast or something like that, it just helps keep them slow and steady. So you can see I kind of was asking her there to speed up and was thinking about trotting, and she sort of sped up. So I'm going to give her a cookie and say yes and reward. And when we're first teaching horses to do something, it's important to reward or recognize those first little intentions, because we can praise them, tell them they're little superstars, and make sure they know that that's along the side that we want them to do. Because if we don't, then what can happen is as we're kind of kicking and nudging and stuff like that, they might actually move towards more panic or more being upset or something like that. So I'm adding that flapping, that energy, and I'm trying to ask her to trot more off of energy and intent. So I'm trying to move my seat a little bit. I'm flapping with my legs a little bit. I'm giving little kicks, but I'm definitely not digging in my heels and kicking her super hard. So there you can see she actually gave me a couple little strides of trot. So I'm gonna give her a little cookie. Now what's important here is that I allow her time to think and process and understand what it is that we just did, because that's me asking her to trot for the first time and having her succeed. So if I keep her going too much, what will happen is the horse will get kind of frustrated and we'll get into a bit of a battle of making her do something, which I'm not really interested in doing. So instead, I want to teach her, like, that's the response I'm looking for. So you can see there she's like, okay, you want me to trot? So she trotted, she did all of like 4 steps, and then she stops and is like, okay, do I get another cookie? And so here I just give her a little bit of praise, but I didn't give her a cookie because I wanted her to understand that I don't want her to just go and stop on her own. I want her to stop when my body says stop. So I tell her thank you, but no cookie just yet. And this is one of the really great ways that we can start to train horses using positive reinforcement is I can withhold the cookie to say, I need you to try more, try to go further. And then it helps the horse be motivated and stay in a really calm state of mind. If I just kept kicking her and wailing on her, that might push her into that really scared frame of mind where she takes off on me or bucks me off or gets really upset. So for me, it's really important to just ask a horse to go, reward them for those little efforts along the way. And I really want to keep her thinking and trying. Especially I find with the mustangs, they can be a little bit more fearful of people. So even when I'm lunging Pretzel, that's been a slow process to teach her to lunge and canter on the lunge line. And it was a bit scooty to start with because she's like, yeah, you're like chasing me. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? And it's like, okay, I understand, like I'm putting pressure on. And so by doing this process of putting pressure on and then following it up with a cookie shortly after, she's learning, okay, that these little kicks, these little flaps that I do with my legs aren't the end of the world. There's no reason to get upset. But I'm careful not to viciously grip with my legs. So if you started to put on spurs or really dig those heels in or give these massive kicks that are really painful, that probably is going to push that horse into that freeze and flight situation. And you can see in Pretzel, see how she's moving where she does all of this slowing down, or sometimes she kind of tucks her butt a little bit too. So what I'm doing is I'm waiting for her to go and feel relaxed and go long enough. So here you can see I'm really asking her to keep going, and even look in my body how I'm sitting up nice and tall. So I'm really trying to make sure that my weight doesn't shift and affect her. And then I'm going to give her a cookie because she went far enough. So when I'm training them, I adjust the amount of time that I'm asking them to go. So in the beginning, she got a cookie just for like increasing her energy and thinking about trotting. And then she had to do a little bit more, and she had to do a few steps to earn that cookie. And then she had to go a little bit more around the round pen because I want to build up how far you have to go. And I find in the first session, it's important to start building that up relatively soon. Otherwise, what will happen is the horse will start to get very freezy and just do 1 or 2 steps at a time and then freeze, and it becomes a bit of a battle. So we did our one direction, and then now you can see I'm working on something totally different. I'm asking her to move her hips around. Here I'm asking her to move her hip over to the right. And so all of this is helping her learn to think about the things that I'm asking her to do. So I did moving her hip, and then now I'm kind of pushing her over a little bit more, and you can see me opening the door a little bit to the right, helping her understand all of the different things that we're doing. And really what I'm trying to create is a very solid foundation of Pretzel going, oh, okay, like this is what you want me to do, and thinking through, okay, now she's bumping me with her leg there. I wonder what that means. And this really helps the horse get to a place where when they feel you grip or they feel you kick, they think, what does that mean? Rather than getting really upset. So we did a little bit of that, which lets her catch her breath. And then now we're going to do trot going in the other direction. So I'm asking her to maintain a little bit of trot. So see, I ask her to trot, and you can see me doing the little flap, flap, flap. So anytime she walks or starts to slow down, I give that little flap, flap. So see there, as soon as she started to slow down, I do that little flap, flap rhythm to say, keep on going. And I'm sitting up nice and tall, and you can see my seat still keeps going. So I've got an activeness to my body, which really helps continue to cue her to keep a little bit of rhythm. And I'm asking her to maintain enough because I want to give her a cookie for holding the steps, but also as I ask her to maintain a lap of trot, it means that she'll have to breathe a little bit more and she'll have to relax. So I want her to go a little bit further distance because I don't want to start to create tension. So after we do a little reward for that little initial energy increase, those few steps, then like a quarter around the round pen, moving on to half around the round pen, we want to start to build up how much we're asking so that way we don't create tension. Because if you ask a horse to just go for a couple steps of trot and reward, and you do that too many times, what happens is they can hold a lot of tension for a couple steps, and then you reward and the horse learns to trot, but trot with tension. And then that can take a really long time for that to undo because they can hold so much tension. So I want to move into these multiple steps, which is what you can see I'm doing here, where I'm asking her to do many steps. And like there, for example, she did a tiny little scoot and tuck. So maybe I accidentally kicked her a little too hard or it was a little bit too much. So I just make sure I go to more rhythm, nudge, 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 not a super hard kick or really digging in my heels, because I'm not trying to get her exposed to too many things at one time. I'm just trying to say, hey, like this is rhythm, this means go. So all of the things that I do on the ground training help her put all these pieces together. So for example, on the ground, you guys have seen me do long lining or do a little bit of lunging, and all of that is rhythm for her to respond to, the rhythm of the long line or the rhythm of the whip when I'm lunging her. And so she understands if I bump her with the whip, it means go faster, like move away from it a little bit more, but not with the intention to really hurt her or to intimidate her, but instead to communicate to her. And so you can see she's going really, really well. Like she's understanding, okay, like Lindsay says trot, and then I'm doing a little bit of trot, and she's just doing this slow little trot. There she does a little scoot. So something happened where it got a little too exciting, and that's in the same spot that she did that the other lap or so ago where she did that. So maybe, I don't know, like that's really near our electric box. There's a box, you can see it as we go by the post here. See that box there? That's our electrical ticking box for our electric fence. So who knows, maybe it has something more to do with the electric fence. Maybe she hears a ticking combined with the bumping of my leg on her belly, and it just adds too many things at a time and causes her to kind of spook or startle. So I can ride a little bit to the inside of that box. I'm not right on the rail, just to kind of cover that off. And I'm just trying to get a nice happy trot. And there you can see that's a beautiful trot there. She trotted by that little spot really nicely. And I just want to make sure I keep asking her to go, so I stop when I ask to stop, which I did there. And she's so easy to stop because I do all of this positive reinforcement. It really helps solidify for her that stopping piece. She's so easy to ask for that halt. My priority as I'm training her is really to feel for that relaxation, because I want to encourage her to get really relaxed in her body. And here you can see I'm giving her lots of praise and giving her time to think, and then I ask her to go on again. So she's really starting to learn that flapping legs from a human just communicate different ideas and to listen to them. And as I'm doing that flap, flap, it's such a fine balance. The trickiest part is knowing, okay, I add that little flap, flap when she starts to slow down, and I add enough pressure that causes her to go forward, and yet not too much pressure, because too much pressure might cause her to really freak out and explode and feel really overwhelmed. So it's a fine balance between the two, and it's usually a bit of a sliding scale. So it's not a like use this rhythm and always use this rhythm. Sometimes you need a little bit more, like if she gets really slow and sticky, you want to use a little bit more because you want her to understand to move forward and move out. And then sometimes you have to back off a little bit, because if she does a little scoot, then we want to back off. So there she did a nice little trot. So I finished by giving her a cookie and then hopping off and doing lots of rubs and letting her know that I'm really grateful that she tried so hard. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.